Hi, I'm Karen Kubicko, and today we're going to talk about your passed over loved ones. When are they around? How do you know? And how does that work? It's a great question. When someone passes out of your life and you cared so deeply for them, they are your passed over loved one, whether they are family or not. So for me, I notice that they seem to always stand over here on my right, but for you, it could be anywhere. Your passed over loved ones have a special place in your life because they can help you in any way they can. You don't necessarily have to ask. They have that special family type of connection to you so that they can help you in a more deeper kind of way without you specifically asking them for that type of help. So that's kind of a cool thing. Even if they were with you for just a short time, they're still family. They're still here in this passed over loved one area. What's really neat is that you can set up a special sign of hello from the other side for anybody, your spirit guides, angels, but for your passed over loved ones, pick out something fun. Sometimes people pick feathers, pennies. Sometimes people pick butterflies, birds, all kinds of things. But you could pick out something very specific. You could pick out a specific kind of leaf. You could pick out a symbol, a number, a color specific to that passed over loved one, that they might have loved a specific color flower, or maybe they had a love of cowboy hats. So if your attention is directed at a commercial or at a billboard or at someone wearing a cowboy hat, they're probably helping you to see that or to notice that, where otherwise you would have just been doing your own thing, walking down the street or whatever the case may be, and not even notice that. So the more specific that you pick out something for your passed over loved one, the more specific a sign that they can show you. Now, what's really cool is, how do you know if they're around? I ask the question to my own spirit guide, how do I know when one of my passed over loved ones are around, or even when they're around? They said to me that when you think of them, that's all it takes, is you thinking of them sends a telepathic message to them, sort of like a telegraphic signal to them on the other side, and they get a notification in their heart that you're thinking about them. And so they're like, oh, someone's thinking about me, and they know exactly who it is because they can on a telepathic level know that. That's really the mode of communication on the other side, is telepathy. So they come and be with you wherever you're at, however they're able to, and they'll be right next to you. So for example, if you're really missing someone that's passed and you're thinking about them, it's pretty much guaranteed that they're standing next to you or in the room with you or somewhere nearby. Now, if you have a lot of grief for that person, you might not necessarily get the feeling that they're near you because they don't want to cause you more grief. But if you work through a lot of the grief, you might begin to have more clear understanding that they're around you, where they might show you that sign. You might smell a smell or hear a sound that reminds you of them right at the time that you were thinking of them, and that's all on purpose for you. You might get the opportunity to have a dream about them, or even feel them touching your shoulder or touching your hair. And you might have thought about them, and then all of a sudden you felt that on your hair or on your shoulder. And because you've worked through the grief, they're feeling comfortable with letting you know that they are definitely right next to you. Some people ask me, can they hear me? Absolutely. They're standing right there. You've just thought about them. They're standing there. You can speak to them. If you are open to it, you can allow yourself to hear a message back from them, but you have to trust that even if it sounds like it's your own thoughts coming back to you, that's what telepathy kind of is. You can actually might get a vision of a memory that they're trying to let you remember or know about. Maybe a fond memory, hopefully it's a fond memory of whenever maybe you were younger and you have maybe a memory of baking cookies with whomever you're thinking of, that's your past over loved one. And so you'll get a smell of cookies, or you'll get that memory of the cookie baking experience with that person to give you validation that they're there for you. Now, sometimes your past over loved ones, they want you to know without a doubt that they're nearby and around you. So what's really cool and interesting to me is that I had a pair of grandparents that both passed when I was pregnant with my first child. So I was kind of bummed out about that because I wanted them to be there when they were born. And so what happened though is that while I was still in the hospital, I got a definite knowing and saw them standing at the bottom of my hospital bed right after I had him. And so that was really special. And then when I had my second child, I actually saw my grandpap standing there holding her, real loving, in my room. And it was just amazing. Now my grandmother was standing right next to her, but like I actually saw him standing there, and I'm like, who's holding my baby? And so that was way before I was completely woke up to all this now. But it was super cool experience because it was just so loving, you know. And you know, I probably at that moment wasn't ready to see my grandmother and to actually know that it was my grandfather at that moment, but I know that's them now without a doubt. So it's just those loving moments can happen for anyone. And I've been told lots of really cool stories about passed over people coming through and being there for you. They just want you to know that they care about you and they love you so much from the other side. So if you'd like to visit with your passed over loved one, I have, if you wait till the end, a guided meditation to help you possibly have an experience where you can visit with a passed over loved one. But I implore you to please work on whatever grief you might have first to help open you up to that experience. They'll come to easily in your dreams. Again, working on that grief first. The best way that I've been shown to work on the grief is to write about, remember, and focus on positive, loving memories with that person. And that raises your heart chakra to really to heal and to release the grief. Because sometimes people focus on those dying moments. Maybe it was a long, drawn out illness that brought them to their passing. And so when you focus on that part of it, that keeps the grief in your heart chakra area. So by focusing on that positive, loving times and memories, that raises your heart chakra, that vibration in your heart to release the grief. And that allows that passed over person to come through to you with ease. Lots of love and light to you. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to learn more about how to connect to the other side.